Welcome back to the ZeroTakes channel. Today, we got another Stranger Things video. We are going to be ranking every season of Stranger Things. Now this video might be like 5 minutes. This video might be, I don't know, like an hour. Depends on how much I really want to yap about all this stuff. But it's going to be a tier list today, ranking each season based on, my opinions, how I view the seasons. And might make people upset, might not. We'll just have to get into it. Now, the way this is going to work, it's going to be like a normal tier list. S is going to be the best, D is going to be the worst. Do I think that makes these seasons, do I think one of these seasons is like a D? No, that's just how it's set up. And let's start with the latest season. Now, in my review video, I kind of already spoiled this. I don't know if everyone's seen it, but if you're just watching the first time, I do think season 5 is the worst season. Now, it's not for, the reasons that everyone else gives. Like, I don't think it has overly too many plot holes or anything like that. I just think that there was just too many missed opportunities in volume 2 that led to the finale being a little rushed. I still really loved where all the characters ended up and everything that happened in season 5 at the end, I'd say. But toward the middle, really kind of boring, really, like, it just got super dragged down and super, like, nothing from volume 2 mattered too much in the grand scheme of things. Like, we could have had such a better show. Like, I really liked volume 1. It felt like it was a good start. It was a little slow, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. That was great, actually. And then I really enjoyed the finale, but I thought the finale was weighed down by what we saw in volume 2 because it had to do so much because volume 2 did so little. So that's kind of my thoughts on 5 and why it's the worst. Now, let's go back to the beginning. Let's talk about season 1. And for me, Stranger Things season 1 is the best season. Clearly the best. It feels so unique. It started this whole thing. The story is so good. Everything feels so planned out. There's no missing time. There's no, we don't linger on things too much. We spend a perfect amount of time with things. The mystery is amazing. The characters are great. It's the reason why everyone fell in love with the show. And for me, it's just like a 10 out of 10 season of television. And I really applaud this season for, setting up the tone and the vibe of Stranger Things, where later on we kind of get, lost and we lose that feeling and that tone of the show and like how it looks. Like, I love how this show in season 1 looks compared to season 5, where I really don't love it as much. Like, the gap and the changes and the differences between just how the show looks from season 1, the best season, to season 5, the worst season, is so just different and crazy to me. But I don't blame entirely. Like, obviously it's been 9-10 years and things change, but that first season is just like peak television. Now, I think we can go in order here. Let's talk about season 2. Now, many of you probably expect me to whack season 2 into C, being the second worst season. I'm not doing that. I think it is middle of the road Stranger Things. And I think season 2 is just really underrated. And you have another great story. It's not as good as the first season, but you still have that Stranger Things vibe, that Stranger Things feeling, all those themes. You have, the exploration of like adding Will back into the cast and him struggling with the mind flayer. You have all these good points. You get introduced to Max. You get the Dustin and Steve friendship. Hopper's doing his thing. I really enjoy season 2. Not as good as season 1, but it still has that feeling. The only thing kind of weighing it down from not, in my personal opinion, being the second best season is just because it has the Callie episode, which really brings it down. Everyone's talked to death about the Callie episode, so I think you all know like what I'm talking about, how everyone feels about it, the public opinion over it. But I think if it didn't have that episode, we'd be looking at second best season. But it does, it's wasted time. Um, it has to go into B for me. I still think it's great. It still keeps up, the feeling of Stranger Things. The vibe that I said. Like that's like so important to me is like how season 1 felt and how perfect that season is. I want to see that carried out throughout the show, and I feel like season 2 still keeps a hold of that, so kind of gets more points for me in that regard. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab season 3. Now, as you can see, we have the best spot gone, the middle spot gone, and, the worst spot for season 5 gone. So, one of season 3 or 4 is going to be the second worst season. And for me, that is not season 3. Season 3 is the second best season for me. Now, I do have my issues with it, but this whole story is so fun. You still feel like these kids are kids, they're still doing all this stuff together. They're together. Some of them are split, but for the most part, every story is necessary. Like you get the Russian story under the mall, which is fun. It's not the most Stranger Thingsy, but you get good dynamics with the characters, which is great. You have like the main kid plot, which is kind of the centerfold of this whole show, like, or I should say this whole season. And I think that whole story was great with like Billy being a central villain figure. That was awesome to see. The one of the weaker parts is like Hopper, Joyce, Murray parts, but you still get fun parts or fun aspects of that storyline within it, and then it all kind of comes together at the end. I really enjoy season 3. It has some of my favorite moments. Um, I think it's just in the perfect place to have nostalgia for it, which may be influencing it a bit, but I really just do enjoy the season. Super high highs, not very many lows. My issue with season 3 is that you kind of start to get the Netflixification of Stranger Things. You kind of lose the tone and the vibe a little bit of the other seasons. Now I don't know if that's because it's, set in summer instead of like fall wintry time, so that might be a little bit of it, but you kind of start seeing like just a shift in tone and a shift in like the aesthetic of the scenes and of the the sets and the shots and how they're filming this, and it starts to become a little more blockbuster movie, a little less Stranger Thingsy, which kind of takes it down a little bit in my mind. But at the same time, it still keeps like the core aspects of Stranger Things, so that's why I have it at 2. I like it a little more than season 2, definitely less than season 1. So it's going there. Now everyone's probably pretty angry that season 4 is so low. How can you have season 4 so low? Season 4, let me just move it up here, is a great season of television. But I don't think it's a great season of Stranger Things at all. All the stuff with Vecna is cool, but I think like adding Vecna just created so many issues that could have been avoided in season 5, to where like this obviously was not thought out. So season 4 might be like literally up here at A tier, like the second best made season of television. It might even be better made than season 1. But it doesn't feel like Stranger Things. Season 4 to me feels like the least Stranger Thingsy season of all the seasons. If I had to rank them in that order, like obviously 1's the most, then 2, then I think season 5, and then I'd go. It's season 5 and 3 kind of at the same level, and then season 4 is definitely last. Everyone's split up. Obviously, like the Hopper dead thing, he has to go, but they're so far away with Joyce and Murray, and Hopper so far away. The main cast of kids are all in Hawkins, and then you have Mike, who's our main character, supposedly is what they say. You can't really tell anymore, especially in this season. But he's our main character, and he's off with Will and Eleven in Los Angeles with, or I guess just California with Jonathan. And that plot is just such a snore. The Russian plot isn't really the best. All the stuff in Hawkins is great. You get great new characters like Eddie and Chrissy, and the jocks on the basketball team are pretty obnoxious, but you kind of get a highlight with Vecna. But the show is a great, like, I think season 4 is a great, like, horror, like, standalone horror series. Like, if this was just released as Netflix as not Stranger Things, I think it would still do numbers. But having it be Stranger Things, it's such a different tone, feeling than anything we've kind of experienced. Like, I know it's worked into it that, like, Vecna's one and oh my gosh, all this, but when you add Vecna into this, it created so many different plot holes. Where, and now I'm actually going to complain about the plot holes, but it created so many different, like, plot holes and new lore. Like, if you look back, season 1 you get some lore, and season 2 you get some lore on what's happening. Season 3 you get more lore, but all of that seems so contained into, like, such a streamlined thing. Like, you have 11, where is she from, what is like, where her powers from, what is happening. You have the Mind Flayer, and you have the Demogorgons. It feels such like a straight line path of what's happening and how we can connect it. You add Vecna in season 4, and all of his story and all of his background is like the main bulk of season 4 and season 5, and you just lose that original feeling from the first 3 seasons in the last 2. And that's why I feel like they're so, that's why I have them so low on my list, because it just feels like the show split off a path that, you know, wasn't, like, as interesting. Like, yes, Vecna might be the most interesting character in the last 2 seasons, but that's because he gets the most backstory, the most explanation over any character. And it's just frustrating that we kind of diverged off the path of the original show was going. We know that I don't think that Vecna was, going to be a part of this from the start of the show. I think it was always going to be, these monstrous creatures. I think it was kind of added to give a more human and interesting villain, which, I mean, Vecna is a great villain. I just think that you have to spend so much time building him up to the point where you lose out on so many good character moments for our characters and so many, like, that original feeling of the show. Season 4 just feels like it's, some random, like, just random other horror series than what Stranger Things is. Creates so many plot holes with, like, oh, the kids used to go, like, you had to write Henry Creel in, and then they start trying to connect him to everything. And it's like, if this isn't there and this is something different, this show could be so much more compact and so much more, like, tangible to the other seasons. But I just feel like there's such a clear divide, I guess, visually, if we look between the B tier and the C tier of what I enjoy in the show and what has been given to me. And that's kind of why I rate those series so low. Now, if we're talking like production, like I said, 4 would be right up there, 1 would be up here, 2 would be here, and then like 3 and 5 feel the most Netflixy, which I don't really enjoy, but I just enjoy those seasons a lot more than kind of what we've seen with season 4 and season 5. So overall, like, a lot of the tone, a lot of the theme, a lot of the tones, a lot of the themes, just the aspects of how everything's shot, how everything feels, kind of goes into this a lot more than what I think. Because I'm talking like strictly Stranger Things. Like, it's like with Avatar. Like, Avatar, the movies look so good, but the plot is so nothing in a way. Like, I still rate them good because they look amazing, but the story, like, I will never give an Avatar movie a 5 out of 5 stars on, like, Letterboxd, because the stories are just, like, very simple, very watered down. And I'm not saying that season 4's story is watered down or simple. I think it looks great, and I think it's a great story. I just don't think it's a great Stranger Things story. I don't think season 5, concludes the series in a, like, it concludes our characters in a great way, but I don't think it concludes the mystery in a great way. I think season 4 adds too much adds this new aspect of the show that takes up so much of our time and effort that we didn't get to see the things we wanted to see answered from the first seasons because we have to answer everything about Vecna in season 4 and season 5. And we kind of lose out on what originally made this show so great. So I think that's kind of how I feel. Like plot holes in season 5 for me come from season 4 because they added way too much. Their eyes were way too big, too much dip on their chip, and had to answer what they could remember from season 4, and it left in what are my opinion the better seasons based on what we've seen kind of in the dust because everyone wants the Vecna stuff. I think it really hurt the show to do that. If I had to rank every season, season 1's 10 out of 10. Season 3 is like 9.5. I'll give season 2 a 9. Season 4 for Stranger Things is like an 8.5. As like a horror show, I think it would even go up. But for Stranger Things, I just like it less because I think it's like the core root of evil for the show, or at least for season 5. And then season 5 is like a 7, 7.5 out of 10. Um, but yeah, let me know in the comments what you think because I know this is probably a hot take, especially season 4 solo and me liking Vecna and think he's interesting, but like also thinking that like that's the reason the show is so bad now because they have to go back and make it all about him. Just let me know if you like this, like the video, consider subscribing. I really appreciate it, and thanks for watching.